Hello, and welcome back to the Eyes of Life show. I am your host, Yolo Schubert. Please come in and join me for our topic today, the importance of voting. Why is it so important for us to vote? For people that don't know, Black people were one of the only race, the one and only race, who had to have their voting rights to be voted on in Congress. The government had to vote in order for us to continue to have our rights to vote. Now, if we don't continue to vote, can they take it away? Well, you know the government does what it wants to do. So, we not getting out there to vote is only going to hurt us in the long run. So, when you look at it, you say, okay, well, we don't really have no good candidates. Okay, well, let's talk about our candidates. We got the Democrat and the Republican Party. So when you look at the Democrat, everybody's looking at Biden. They're not pleased with Biden. They're not happy with what he's done. They're saying he hasn't done anything. Well, then you have the Republican Party. It was Haley, it was Trump, and now it looks like it's Trump. Haley wanted to try to appeal to the single parents. She wanted to talk about um, how the single parents are struggling to take their children to school, to get them on a bus. Well, how many of us know that we've been struggling for years? There have been single parents of the minority race for years. Even going back to slavery, there were single parents. We were struggling to get help to take our kids to school, struggling to pick our kids up from school, struggling to make sure they can be there for dinner. So you can be able to do those things. But see, now it's become so important because it's no longer 90% of the minority race. Now it's probably more like 50-50 almost, or 60-40, or 70-30, where now it's being noticeable that the Caucasian race has a lot of single moms who are now trying to find someone to take their kids to school. They're trying to find someone to pick their kids up from school because they don't have the time to try to make it to work on time, as well as get their kids on a school bus or take them to school, take them to daycare. But we've been going through this for years, for decades. We've been going through this. The only thing, we utilized our families. We utilized our grandparents, our mothers, our aunts, our cousins, siblings. We utilized them. But it was never acknowledged because why? We were the majority who was dealing with that. Now they're dealing with it. And it's such a huge, big issue. It puts me in the mind of this epidemic of opioids. Excuse me, my eyes is itching. It puts me in the mind of the epidemic of opioids. How many minorities were dying due to drug overdose? Way back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and 2000s. Heroin overdose, crack overdose. These things were going on so long ago, but now they want to crack down on it. It's like, oh, we got to get a handle on it. But they wasn't worrying about getting a handle on it when it was the majority of the minorities that were falling short. But now it's more of the Caucasians. Now it's a problem. So yeah, she wants to target the single parents. We've been it's been a lot of single parents for years. You got Trump. This man, yes, he talks about closing the borders. Okay, well, looks like Biden's getting that done. They're talking about Mexican borders. Well, if you do your history, Mexico was part of the United States. long before Texas was in California. So, if anything, you should be trying to figure out why they're fleeing and stopping the cartels. But see, they're not telling you all this. See, the government got a hand in all this when it comes down to the cartels, the drugs coming in and out of the United States. The lower class people ain't doing that. So he's talking about that with the borders. They're coming in. Yeah, they're getting free insurance. Well, guess what? Where was y'all at when in the 80s, early 80s, when people from Vietnam, China, Asia was all coming over to actually get free medical? They were coming over here. They were getting tens, 20,000s of dollars per family that were coming over. And they were getting free aid. But yet and still you want us to believe that, oh, the Mexicans are coming over stealing our jobs. Well, they were coming over opening up stores. So it's a lot that they're trying to say that was happening long before. So why is that so important? They were coming over by the boatloads, thousands at a time. But yet it was never a problem back then. They were throwing them in lower middle class neighborhoods. That's what they were doing back in the early 80s, late 70s. But you talking about now you want to close the border, you want to build this wall. Then Trump wants to give the police, the law enforcement, amnesty. So when you start looking at amnesty, when you start looking at the police brutality we have already faced, the killings, now you're talking about giving them the free right to kill us all. So why is it important for us to vote? Because this will put us back in the 60s territory. Back to the police brutality. Back to us really not having no rights. Bad enough as a minority, as a Black person, we still consider 1/3 or 1/5, or however they want to put it, of a person. We still have to, okay, literally fight for our rights. How is it that we're the only race that still don't get the proper treatment? So when you're talking about amnesty, giving these police officers the right to kill us because they're already doing it. Some of them are getting off. They're not even going to jail. It's a joke. So is it important for us to vote? Yes, because our lives dependent on it. Because if we don't get out there and vote, we will be pushed back 50 years or more. Everything that we worked hard to get where we are and where we think we are, we're not going to be there, especially if the Republicans have their way. Now, we say, yes, everybody in politics lie. They don't tell the truth. But when you know you have a well-known liar, a person that's sitting there telling you these things, you're letting people out of jail just so they can vote for you. We got to be very, very careful. We definitely don't need a Republican in office. They're going to mess with our health care. It's bad enough you got seniors that's out here that's actually needing home health aid. Some of them need 24-hour care. The government's trying to take that away. Now they don't want to give a person that actually needs that 24-hour care service unless you come out of pocket. So the only way you're really going to get that, okay, service where maybe a family member, because you may not want a stranger to come into your home. So you want a family member. But even if you get a private person that comes in and does it, they don't want to pay for it. If a person is actually getting Medicaid, okay, so what makes you think they can afford to pay for that? Oh, well, Medicaid to cover this, but you got to cover the rest. No, they don't make enough money to actually do that. They can't afford that. So once again, the minority, the lower class loses. And it's not like some of us are not out here trying to struggle to get to where we are. It's not like we're not trying to better ourselves. Some of us have worked. We've worked for 15, maybe 20 years, but we still are not in that certain bracket where we can afford to do certain things because our income is not there. You probably made $2,000 or whatever a pay period. But now when you look at yourself and you're saying, "Dag, well, I'm not bringing $2,000 home based on my income because now I'm on Medicare or now I'm collecting Social Security now." So all these things are coming into play. All these things are sitting on the table to be voted on. But who do we have a better chance with? Do we have a better chance with Biden? Do we have a better chance with Trump? I would look at you and tell you, look at what you stand to lose. You're going to lose a lot if you go Republican. Look at everything that happened when he was in office. Look at how the racism have came about. Look at how, all the racism have always been there, okay? However, however, it may have suppressed itself a little bit, but it was always there. We did not have this much police brutality, police killing black folks since maybe the 60s. But look at George Floyd. Look at these things. Look at these cases. Especially in Florida, you still got this stand your ground law. Why does that stand your ground law still exist? These are the things that need to be taken off the table. Why does it need to be taken off the table? Because we're the ones that are getting killed. So you have to please put all these things into perspective. Take all these things and look at what you're voting on when you make your decision to vote. The importance for the majority to vote. As a minority, we need to make sure that the Republicans do not get in office because we're going to be the ones that lose. That lower income bracket is going to be the one that's losing. You got people that's making $1,600 a month who used to make at least $3,000 on their job before they had become disabled and needed to go out on disability. They're not making that kind of money anymore. But you let the government tell it you're making enough. But you're not making enough, really. If you got a $1,400 mortgage and you had to go on disability because you were sick and couldn't stay and work on your job, so now you're getting Social Security disability, but you're no longer getting that $3,000 a month, and they're only giving you now $1,800 a month. Well, you got a car note, you got electric, you got bills. So by the time you pay that $1,400, what do you got left? So once again, all these things are going to come into play. They take it, you're getting $1,800 based on what they're saying in your Social Security, but they're still taking out for your medical. So you're not even getting that $1,800. So once again, the right choice here, do the math. Is it important to put this man back in office versus voting for Biden? What is your better choice? Do you want that in there? Where will we stand? Especially if these police get that amnesty. We will catch a bad break. That is literally giving an officer or police officer, anyone in law enforcement, whether they on duty, whether they off duty, the right to do whatever they want to do because they feel like they want to do it and get away with it because they have that clarity to do whatever it is they want to do. But this is what Trump wants to put, he wants to do. He wants to border, he wants to get these officers. To me, it's a no-brainer. I don't want to vote for someone that wants to put and allow somebody that's in law enforcement just to go ahead and say, well, oh, this person walking around with a hoodie. Because they had the thing with the hoodie. Okay? Oh, here's a black person. What is he doing on this part of town? This is a predominantly white neighborhood. So at the end of the day, we don't need that. And this man is under scrutiny for the things that he's done, but he does not face any actions that all his actions has no consequences. None of it. Look at what he did when he lost the election. That was just the beginning. And you want to put him back in office? Y'all need to get some common sense, people. It is important for us to vote, or we may lose it. Who knows? The way it's going now, they may say, okay, at one time, they had to sign a bill for black people to continue to have their voting rights. But the bill, from my understanding, no longer needs to be signed. It is nothing to stop them from bringing that bill back to surface because that's the government. To say now, okay, well, we only got X, Y, and Z amount of black people voting. So, okay, maybe they don't need it no more. So what's under that bill, that voting bill? What's falling all under that voting bill? We will lose it. We will lose it. We will no longer have it. This is what you got to look at. So yes, it is very important for us to vote. Especially if you're in the South. We need to get out. It's a lot of mixed races now. Now you got more biracial children than you did back then. But they don't care because if you got 1% black, you're black. Bottom line. Or you just light skinned. So therefore, we need to make sure that we do what we need to do to keep the same rights that we have. Because I don't want to be walking down the street looking over my shoulder. I don't want my sons or my brother to be walking down the street looking over their shoulder because they're a black man in this country. So putting this man back in office, that's what it's going to end up being. Bad enough we already, they already have us labeled. So please get out and vote. Please make sure you look at everything that you have to lose, that you stand to lose, your children for the next 4 years. If them Republicans get in office and they take full control, it is up to us. If you haven't registered, find out where you need to register to vote. And don't do the mail-in ballots. I don't trust them mail-in ballots to save my life because they can say, oh, we didn't get it. We can't say they got it. Okay, we're not sending it certified mail, but we're getting a certification back to us saying, oh, this was actually received on this date. We're just mailing it in. So get out there. If you got an elderly ancestor, an elderly cousin, aunt, grandmother, they still have the right to vote. Go pick them up. Take them to go vote. Make sure your children are voting, your grandchildren. If they're 18 years old, get them out there and let them vote. It's important. So yes, we need to vote. Hello? We do need that border to slow down the immigration. Yes, this country was built on immigration. Okay, that's how our ancestors got here. But it's not just the Mexican borders. Look at everybody that's trying to come over. You got Haitians, you got Chinese, you got Japanese, you got Asians. You have people coming out of the Middle East. So just don't focus on just the Mexican border. You need to try to put a cap on it. You don't have jobs over here for the people that's already over here. But then they come over, especially the people in the Middle East. They come over and they get medical jobs. Now they're working in hospitals, they're working in nursing homes. Where is our people going to get their jobs that has these same type of abilities and qualifications if they're already there? So, yes, it's important for us to vote. These Asians, they're coming over, they're getting this money, they're going, opening up these businesses, and this is what they do. They open up their business. They don't even have to pay taxes for so many years. But then when it's time for them to come to pay the taxes, okay, they done saved up and built up enough money. Now they're going to take the business and put it in another relative's name because they saved up enough money for the other relatives to come over so they can make their money. But at the same token, they're still getting this money, free money that we didn't get. So once again, it's important. Look at what the United States stand for. Freedom for all. We still didn't get that part yet. We're still being prejudged as the angry black woman or the angry black man. So take a look at those things, because that's where that amnesty is going to come in. That's where they're going to say, oh, well, she looked like, or he looked like. It's going to go back to that thing, well, you look like a person that we're looking for. The man can be 6 foot, light skinned, and you're 4'3" or 5 foot, but you look like that person. Why? Because you're black. Giving them police officers, these law enforcement people, the right to just do whatever they want to do is wrong. I don't know about you, but I know I don't want that type of variation over what we already got going on in this country already. Look at that. Everything they're talking about, why? Because they're worried about their race becoming extinct. Why? Because you have more people now, they're fighting because when you look at it, you got more blacks in this country now than you did whites. Why? Because they wasn't having as many babies as we were. This is why they really stopped the abortion, because the white race could go extinct. So they want to force you to have these babies. So this is why. It's not because, oh, they worrying about you know, this baby being is a murder. It's no. The real reason is why people can become extinct. So that's another thing we got to think about. Keep it in mind. We have to put our thinking caps on people and start reading behind the scenes of what they're saying. We have to look and, think outside that square box. Go some miles outside of it and really look at the picture. Now, it's nowhere in the world. If a black man would have done half the stuff that they're accusing Trump of, he'd already been in jail. And you know it. And make no mistake, I'm not racist. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm telling you the facts. I am telling you the way it is. And that's the bottom line. So if you think, oh, I'm Muslim, I don't need to vote, I can't vote because of my religion, there is nothing in a Quran or a Bible that says you cannot vote. Nothing. If you want to say, I live in America, I got rights, utilize your rights. It's important for you to do so. If we let these people in office, and make no mistake, yeah, Biden is slow doing some things. You know, they don't know. I think Biden got a plan. I think he does. He's moving at his pace, not our pace, but none of them ever move at our pace the way we want things done. But we have to make them see us. We have to make them see us for who we are, not for what they think we are, not for what we're being labeled as. And not be so naive to say, oh, well, this man pardoned me. Man, at the end of the day, if he had the power to bring back slavery, you'd be on the first train smoking. Why? Because he pardons you and he know where you are, but you're still black. You didn't think they were mulatto kids back then? Yes. Them enslavers didn't care. They was their kids. They still sold them off. Still put them out in the field. Still do whatever. So regardless if you have black men having children by white women and white women having children by black men, Hispanics, black race mix, it doesn't matter. You need to get out and vote and be careful of who you vote for, because your lives, they depended on it. So if your life is dependent on it, think like it, act like it, know the importance of it, and what we have and stand to lose. This is what I want to get out to you, world. Let your little light shine by voting for the right party. Ask yourself, why is it when a Republican get in office, we go into a deficit? Ask yourself that question. And it always takes 8 years for us to just about get out of it. Then you go another Republican, and we go back into a deficit. But then when the crack get back in there, we're coming out of it. We're coming out of it. So think about those things. Make sure you pay attention. Listen. They try to trip you up with these big words and all that. No, but you need to listen. YOLO Schubert ain't going to steer you wrong. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to beat around the bush with it. I'm just going to let you know what it is and where we stand in this particular country. Because if don't no one ever tell us, we're going to just be like, oh, it's cool. We're good. We're never good. Always keep your guard up. All the time. It is necessary. It is important for us to know. There's still a lot of racism going on in the South, in the North, in the West, in the East. It's still a lot going on there. So please, do me a favor. Get out there and vote. Go to the voting booth. Do not mail your ballot in. If you got to take that drive, take that drive. But please make sure you get that vote in there. Go register to vote. It's important. Well, I want to thank you for joining me today. As you can see, I'm in another location. I ask that you please, let's keep this world in prayer. Let's keep one another covered, and always, always make sure you treat yourself as a number one person. Stay safe. I am at another location. I'm here with my mother, my parents. So we will be having a new and different location every week. It will be here. So it may not be as quiet as it was in my studio at home, but I will apologize in advance for any interruptions you may hear, any background noises you may hear. But no, this is an educational tool for you as well as them. So once again, also, please keep our families in prayer, our South Carolina family, our Philadelphia family, our families all over, that we stay safe and you be aware of your surroundings at all times, because we don't know what we're in for. Don't ever let your guard down. I thank you again for joining the Eyes of Life show. I am your host, Yolo Schubert. Everyone, have a good night.